You wake up in your bed, everything seems normal. You brush your teeth, you eat breakfast, you step outside, and something feels wrong. A crack in the sidewalk you've seen before, a stranger repeating the exact sentence they said yesterday. You've lived this exact day before. Your heart pounds. You try to wake up, you open your eyes, and you're still in bed, still trapped in the same morning. So here's the question that's about to unravel your sense of reality. What if you never actually woke up at all? What if, right now, you're still asleep? Every night, your brain enters a strange electrical storm called REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. Your eyes dart beneath closed lids. Your muscles go almost fully paralyzed, a safety switch so your body doesn't act out what your mind imagines. Regions tied to emotion, memory, and imagination light up almost as much as when you're awake. If your brain is that active while dreaming, how do you know which state is the real one? Most dreams last 5 to 20 minutes, though they can feel like hours. Some people experience lucid dreaming, becoming aware they're dreaming while still inside it. Others experience false awakenings, dreaming they've woken up, starting their day, only to actually wake up and realize none of it happened. Some report several false awakenings stacked on top of each other, each one feeling completely real, until the final layer finally breaks. Now here's the question this documentary is built on. What if it didn't stop at a few layers? What if one night you fell asleep and never truly woke up again? You fall asleep on an ordinary night. In the dream, you wake up in your room. Everything looks correct, but something feels slightly off. A color too vivid, a conversation that loops strangely. You try to wake up, and you do, except you're still dreaming. This is the first crack. At first, you assume it's just a vivid dream, but as the false awakenings repeat, panic sets in. You pinch yourself. It hurts exactly like it should. You check your reflection. Perfectly normal. In real dreams, mirrors and text are famous for glitching. But what if, in this dream, none of that happens? What if the dream is flawless? Days pass. Except, did they? Time inside a dream doesn't always match time in reality. Dream events can feel far longer than the real minutes they occupy, because the brain compresses and reconstructs time instead of experiencing it in a straight line. So if this dream never ends, could one single night feel like decades? Could you build an entire life of memories, relationships, milestones, while your body lies still for a single 8-hour stretch? Could you fall in love in there? Could you meet someone who laughs at your jokes, holds your hand, feels warm and real? Your brain can generate remarkably detailed, simulated people in dreams, individuals who say things you didn't consciously plan. Some researchers believe your subconscious runs countless background processes you're not aware of, essentially improvising entire personalities. Would that person feel any less real to you, simply because their body was made of neurons instead of skin? Could you build a family in there, one that hugs you back, cries real tears, says, "I love you," even though none of it exists outside your mind? And here's the darkest twist. What if, over time, you forgot? What if your real life, your real name, slowly faded, the way morning dreams fade the longer you stay awake? What if someone asked, "Do you remember anything before this?" And you couldn't answer, not because you were lying, but because it was simply gone. Would you age in there? Your real body wouldn't. Sleep doesn't accelerate aging, but your mind might construct the illusion of it. Could you feel pain? Real pain receptors don't activate the same way during sleep, but your brain can simulate pain so convincingly that people wake up gasping, certain they were just injured. If your mind can fake that for a few seconds, what could it fake over years? Here's the real science behind all of this. During REM sleep, the prefrontal cortex, your brain's center for logic and critical thinking, becomes significantly less active. This is measurable, and it's why dreams defy logic without disturbing us. Your brain's reality-checking system is basically offline. Meanwhile, the amygdala, your emotional center, becomes more active, which is why dreams feel emotionally overwhelming even when nothing makes sense. High emotion, low logic. That's the exact recipe for a dream that feels utterly real while breaking every rule of reality. Sleep paralysis adds another eerie layer. This real condition occurs when your mind wakes up before your body's paralysis switches off. You're conscious, maybe even eyes open, but you cannot move. Some people report seeing shadowy figures, a phenomenon scientists believe comes from the dreaming brain bleeding into waking awareness. Not paranormal, neurological. But it proves the line between dreaming and waking isn't a wall. It's a blurry, permeable border. What if that border never fully closed again? Your hippocampus, responsible for forming memories, is highly active during REM sleep. One reason scientists believe we dream at all, to consolidate memories and process emotions. So in our hypothetical endless dream, your brain could form new memories, layering them over old ones, creating a seamless, false autobiography. A life that never happened, remembered as if it did. Now think about what this would do to your identity. Psychologists describe identity as something built from continuity, our memories, our sense of, this is who I've always been. If you spent what felt like 30 years inside a dream, your brain wouldn't necessarily know the difference. To your neurons, an experience is an experience, whether triggered by external reality or generated internally. That's why nightmares leave you shaking after waking. Imagine the psychological weight of 30 simulated years. Your emotions in there would feel completely valid, because to your brain, they are valid. Grief would still hurt. Love would still feel exactly like love. If your mind cannot tell the difference between the dream and reality, does the difference even matter to the person living it? Could you trust anyone in there? If every person is potentially a projection of your own subconscious, are you ever truly alone? Mental health experts note that a prolonged inability to distinguish dream from reality is associated with certain rare psychological conditions. This isn't fiction, it's documented. Our scenario stretches that real vulnerability to an extreme, a mind so convinced by its own creation that waking up stops feeling like an escape and starts feeling like a threat. And here's the philosophical twist. If a dream feels completely real, indistinguishable in every sensory and emotional way from waking life, does it matter that it's not real? The philosopher René Descartes famously asked how we could ever prove, with total certainty, that we are awake right now, rather than dreaming this very moment. How do you know you're not dreaming? You might say, because everything feels consistent. But that's exactly what a convincing dream feels like too. There are supposed dream tests, rereading text, checking a clock twice. But if a dream were advanced enough that none of these tests failed, what tool would you have left to prove you're awake? Your brain never perceives raw reality directly. It perceives electrical signals, filtered and reconstructed. Everything you've ever experienced, waking or dreaming, has passed through that same biological translator, So what if your current life, this exact moment, is simply a dream you haven't woken up from yet? You can't fully disprove it. Imagine that trapped version of you, decades in, a full life built, love found, memories layered thick over whatever truth came before. One day, something small breaks the illusion, a flicker, a face that glitches for half a second. And in that instant, they have a choice. Wake up and lose everyone they built, or stay in the beautifully convincing world their own mind created. What would you choose? There's no clean answer. That's the point. Every night, your brain builds entire worlds from nothing, indistinguishable for a few dark hours from reality itself. And every morning you trust, without question, that you've crossed back over that line. But what if, one night, you didn't? Tonight, when you close your eyes, and tomorrow morning, when you open them again, ask yourself one simple question. Did I really wake up?